On the rock. Remember, Donovan, first QB ever to rush for 100 yards in a playoff game, so you know he can scoot. But, Sean, why don't people give Donovan enough props for his accuracy?
Well, they're ridiculous. You know what? It's a little bit of his past because he wasn't an accurate thrower, guys, when he came into the league, but he's progressively gotten better, as witnessed by some of the great throws he made this year. It's no longer stop Donovan McNabb's feet and you win. He'll beat you on the run throwing. He'll also beat you from the pocket after play action throwing. So let's break down the most important things, guys, that he does. You got to throw that trail man, zip it in there when there's tight coverage here. We'll throw that. We'll check it out, and we'll come back and show you the great touch that he's got. He has developed himself into not just an athlete, Stu and Merrill, but a tremendous quarterback. So, Merrill, be my wide receiver. All right. And then why don't you play a little man coverage on it, even in zone. But, guys, here's what will happen. When he get off, he's going to win and separate. And if McNabb's been able to keep it and stick things in tight.
So even if the DB has him covered like this.
Because remember in the past the ball would come, Haji, the ball, so he's running across, ball come here.
I can knock it down.
Exactly.
I can break it up.
But now you stretch out after you're trailing him right now. You stretch out, the ball's out here, and you got to go through him and be pass interference to get to him. So let's check it out now, how McNabb has become a guy who can throw the ball on a line, no matter if it's out of play action or straight drop back. Boy, has he become a good player. Here's what we're talking about. There's a fake to Westbrook. Look at his presence in the pocket, guys. He sees two men in zone, then both trail man, run right through it, gives him a chance even out in front to catch the ball, and even if you have to dive to get it on the ground.
All right, what's the other kind of route?
Well, the other thing is, if you're going to take away the underneath route where he's going to run, we're going to go over the top, and instead of McNabb, Haji, you beat him over the top.
As the DB, I'm going to play inside and try and keep him from that.
We got it, and the lob throw that allows him to do that. And here's what happened. Here's what used to happen at times. He's so physically gifted, didn't get it up there enough, trying to throw it right through.
I'm going the other way.
That's exactly right. But now he's got to the point he believes in his guys, and he feathers the ball in there and allows the guy to run and catch. The difference, guys, is 60+ completion percentage and a chance to beat you in more ways than one. Have a look at this tape now and the difference that McNabb makes, the accuracy with the touch throw. This isn't just a guy who can throw it through a car wash. One more time, let's come out of play action. Watch how quick he snaps his head around, guys, too, and that's been a help for him. His mechanics are so solid. You wouldn't normally want to make this throw, would you?
No, I wouldn't.
If you throw it on a line, it's an interception, gets it up, gives Freddie Mitchell a chance to run after the catch. Guys, McNabb, if he gets a chance in this game to do that, chance he could be the MVP.
Well, that's why I think one of the most overlooked aspects of this offense, their offensive line, those plays we just saw, one thing, consistent, time. He has all the time in the world. That means he can plant his feet can be excellent, therefore he can make the touch throw. He can make the stick throw. That has been really key. And I think this offensive line has been overlooked in what they've done.
And oh, by the way, he can run around for 14 seconds and hit
if they don't protect.
15 wins, 11 of them by double digits. Hey, we are here in Jacksonville, also known as Duval.
Well, lost somewhat in Saturday's Super Bowl buildup was a very upsetting day for some college basketball favorites. Alabama, Wisconsin, Texas, all ranked teams, all lost to unranked teams.
Yeah, right now we're going to see if Pitt.
To Jacksonville for our coverage of Super Bowl 39. On the day before the title is decided, some legacies are established. The Hall of Fame welcomed 4 new members. Chris Berman and the Countdown Gang live history.
All right, Stu, thank you very much. And for Tom, Mike,
get out of here. You guys are crazy. Stop.
A member of the pro football class of 2005, Stevie. You go in with Dan Marino. You'll be teammates now after all these years. And look, you said congratulations, Steve, and you talked about talking with him about when you were young kids, and did you ever think it would come to this?
I was a senior in high school. I stood on the sidelines at West Point. We watched Army play Pitt. Pitt had a young freshman quarterback named Dan Marino, and I sat there at the sideline about the 25-yard line, and he threw an 18-yard comeback right in my feet, and I thought, holy cow, I don't know if I got what a college player did, because he was something special. And now we're together, and you really think about it. He told me there's 26 quarterbacks in the Hall of Fame, now 28. And you think about all the guys that played. It's very, very special. I've been overwhelmed. Mostly afterwards, before I was nervous, but afterwards just thinking of all the guys that played football, all the guys that have dropped back to throw a pass. And we stand on the shoulders of great men, the Otto Grahams and the Y.A. Tittles and the Sid Luckmans and the Johnny Unitas's and the Bart Starr. I mean, just think about the history of the game. I love the history game. I love football. I have a passion for it. I'm grateful for all my teammates that I had a chance to play with. They're very special people.
When you talk about standing on the sidelines, I remember standing on the sidelines looking across the field, watching you put a hurting on my Dallas Cowboys, and I'm saying, get him, get him. And now sitting here with you the last couple of years has been a great joy, Steve. And I'm telling you, man, it's a great honor that we share in your joy today, and as we congratulate you on being inducted in the class of 2005.
Thank you.
And I just can't tell Steve how proud I am of him. I've talked to him privately and said some things to him, but just so proud of you. And you know, from players, you played the game the right way, and you played with the passion that it deserves. So
thank you, Tom.
Congratulations, Steve.
Did they have a tire swinging in the backyard at Greenwich, Connecticut?
Oh, you sure? Yeah.
Did you?
I was lefty spin. I had to get the lefty balls.
Right.
And people don't realize there's left-handed footballs that I worked on when I was younger.
Yeah, right.
I know you don't want me to belabor the point, and I've known you a long time, but I do hope that everyone out there understands the pressure that you were under and the grace and the class with which you handled your situation in San Francisco. Whatever you were going to do, and you didn't ask for this situation, whatever you were going to do, it wasn't going to be good enough, except you know what? You beat the Chargers in the Super Bowl with 6 touchdown passes. You're in the Hall of Fame on this day. Guess what? It was good enough.
Well, I absolutely thought it was a special opportunity throughout. I never rejected it. I always embraced it. I thought that was a special place to play, and I was very fortunate. There's no question about it.
Talk about work. You know what? Late in your career, we had a lot of interviews, and you would talk about, and you guys all did it too, and I'd like to think we do it in ours, but as much as you accomplish working on the craft of quarterbacking, little things, even later in your career, I guess that's advice for everybody, young kid
I really
out there.
did. I started with Lavelle Edwards at BYU, Mike Holmgren, Sid Gilman, and went on to the 49ers. It was all about footwork, the little things that made football players great. Every position has the same thing, but quarterback has so much, seemingly more little tids that you have to take with you every day, and you have to work at it and craft it and be an artist. And I think that artwork comes out in such a great choreography of offensive football. That's the special part of quarterback.
You know, there are barely more, Steve, than 200 people ever elected to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And Michael, you were a finalist.
You will be there,
and you're going to be there awfully.
It's all timing.
Eligible,
just timing.
Awfully. You're one of the last 6. I don't know how the name fell out of the hat, but it's not going to fall out for. I know this is a different day for you, but do you understand what it means to be a finalist your first time out?
And I take that as an honor, Boom, because you just mentioned there's not many guys that get in, and to be considered amongst those great guys, that's a great honor. And now to be on the set with the Hall of Famer, I'll let Steve go. He'll tell me about all the kinks, and we'll work out the kinks. So next year, I'll be able to get it right.
And how about, and you get to go in with Troy Aikman next year, maybe. Right. Wouldn't that be nice, Tom?
If there's any justice, he will be in, period.
Well, I look forward to.
I agree with that.
I'm up there at the podium, you know, just in case you get a little wobbly knee.
You'll read the introduction, attaboy. Look, there it is, the shield.
Check out Boomer and the Gang Sunday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern for Sunday Countdown, including new Hall of Famer Steve Young, one of our team.
Our congratulations to Steve as well. This is boxing from St. Louis Saturday night. That's Corey Spinks and rapper Nelly getting the crowd fired up. Took him 45 minutes to get to the ring. 7th round, Zab Judah knocks Spinks down. Now Spinks, the reigning welterweight champion, and just getting worn out in the 9th. Big left hand followed up by multiple punishing blows. Finally, he knocks him down. Judah would go on to win the undisputed welterweight title of the world. He wins it by TKO in front of a packed house at the Savage Center.
Well, amid the hoop upsets and the Super Bowl preps, there were still plays to be made, and only the best will find a place in our top 10. That's next. This is SportsCenter.
That they closed down bridges and made folks walk across them. But here's the thing about Super Bowl week. Everybody's happy, nobody seems to mind. NFL coaches with microphones in their faces wax poetic with the most memorable sound bites. You know, things like diddly poo and playoffs. Playoffs? And how about this one? You play to win the game. Hello? And when it comes to Super Bowl, I mean, come on, immortal words like, where else would you rather be than right here, right now? Then there's these 2 Super Bowl coaches. Roll the cliches.
It's not about last year. This is about what we do this year.
We're not down here on vacation. We're down here to play a football game against a very good football team.
We're not looking backwards at what's happened in the past. We're looking forward toward the Eagle game.
You're not going to pull a lot of wool over their eyes. They're pretty sharp.
Every Sunday, it's, you got to expect a dogfight in this league, and that's what it is.
They think they're as good as anybody in the National Football League, and they understand that you have to prove that each and every Sunday.
We know that the Eagles are a great football team. They present a tremendous challenge. We know we're going to have to play our best game of the year.
I think we're playing a heck of a football team, and that obviously has been here.
We never expect anything less than our opponent's best. That's what we try to get ready for.
They're not playing this game for money. That's not what they're doing. They're playing this game for the ring.
All they did was just kind of stick to their knitting, keep on trucking.
He makes it look easy, but it's not that easy of a thing to do.
So I'll just leave it at that.
Okay.
Sorry, fell asleep.
Time for some Super Bowl predictions now. First, by some famous people, some of whom actually played football.
Yeah, I think the Patriots will win, I don't know, maybe 21-14, something like that. I guess my favorites in the Super Bowl have to be New England.
I have to say I'm good either way because it's East Coast all the way. And you know I'm an East Coast girl, so people have been telling me, come on, Alicia, when you go, say the Eagles are going to win. Come on, Alicia, when you go, say the Patriots are going to win. So people have been really trying to make me say different things, but I'm happy either way because the East Coast is in the house.
I would like to see the Eagles win, but I really feel like the Patriots are going to get it. I mean, they got a lot of experience, and, they've been here before, so, it's hard to bet against the champs.
I'm going to actually root for Philly. I don't know who's going to win, but I'm going to root for the Eagles.
Obviously, playing both teams, I know both of them real well. I truthfully, knowing both teams, think it's going to be a better game than people think. I think people think New England's going to come in and walk all over them. They very well might, but I think it's going to be a better game than people are expecting.
Roethlisberger, great guy, never had 2 straight 300-yard games this year as Sean Salisbury did, and never had 2 straight 100-yard rushing games in the playoffs as Merrill Hodge did. So I'm going to believe what you all had to say. Sean, what's your prediction?
Okay, well, you know what? Being the fact that I've been right most of the time on this show and most of my predictions, I'm going to go with a no-brainer. It's the New England Patriots, 27-17. And the more I'm around here this week, it's becoming obvious it may get worse than that, and Tom Brady is going to get his 3rd MVP. Philadelphia's going home again. 20 more years till it goes to the Super Bowl.
There are very few Eagle fans like the Vivaldi brothers who bought me lunch today who are true Eagle fans. The majority are like, listen, on the outside here. That is why the Patriots will whip the Eagles by at least 14, and the Eagles go home again with no Super Bowl championship.
If that happens, Bill Belichick will become the first NFL head coach ever to win 3 Super Bowls in 4 years. Whole lot of people here loving our predictions, right?
They're hating. They're hating.
Hating, don't hate. Congratulate.
Congratulate.
Meditate. Educate. Our aerial coverage is courtesy of the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company and its fleet of airships, reminding you to travel with peace of mind on Goodyear's new Assurance tires.
It was just last month when Paul Newman's race car burst into flames after a fuel regulator split at Daytona. Hey, NBA basketball on ABC Super Sunday, 3 o'clock Eastern Time. Rockets and Lakers. T-Mac scoring 30 a game. Easy these days. And Lamar Odom and the Lakers trying to find their way without Kobe and Rudy T. Super Sunday, NBA Hoops, 3 Eastern Time on ABC.
Did you know? Brought to you by Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Call 1-800-RENT-A-CAR. Pick Enterprise. We'll pick you up.
Well, here's your sports schedule for Sunday. 4 NBA games, no NHL games, and a fairly significant football game in Jacksonville.
The team scoring first has won 26 of the 38 previous Super Bowls, but the team that falls behind on Sunday will find itself in an unfamiliar position because, did you know, the Patriots and Eagles, just the 3rd set of Super Bowl opponents who have entered the game, having never trailed in the preliminary playoff rounds. The others, Packers and Chiefs, opponents in Super Bowl I. Redskins and Bills met in Super Bowl 26. Pats had little trouble with playoff foes, Indianapolis and Pittsburgh. We can say the same for the Eagles, who rolled over Minnesota and Atlanta. We are rolling out of here. I'm Steve Burkett.
And I'm Fred Hickman. Duval, right?
Duval.
Super Bowl Eve.
Respect is not given, it is earned.
2 teams, the Eagles and Patriots, with dreams of glory. What are the keys to raising the Lombardi Trophy? How did both teams survive the grueling season to still be standing in Jacksonville? We'll look back at a season of highs and some lows.
Who can make a play? I can.
Can T.O. help the Eagles and their fans celebrate their first championship in over 4 decades? Or will Tom Brady pull off a super MVP three-peat?
And I got something for you, Harrison, when I meet you. It's pretty funny from a guy that doesn't even start unless someone goes downtown.
We've got the Super Bowl sounds of the week, the bone-crushing hits of the year. We'll relive the great moments from the 2005 Hall of Fame class. Plus, what are the players doing on this night before the biggest games of their lives? The battle for football's ultimate prize is just 24 hours away. It's a special Super Bowl edition of NFL Primetime. Next.
Breathe. This Super Bowl edition of NFL Primetime is presented by Miller Lite. Primetime is Miller time. And now, here's your host, Chris Berman.
It's a special Saturday night Super Bowl edition of NFL Primetime. No calm before the Super Bowl 39 storm. They know all and tell all at Alltel Stadium in 24 hours here on the frozen tundra of Jacksonville, Florida. I don't think anybody's minding the store in Philly. They're all here. You can get pretzels cheap in Philly right now. The stands are open. Hello once again, everybody, and welcome to the eve of Super Bowl 39, our special Saturday night Super Bowl primetime. I'm Chris Berman. So glad you could be with us, and everybody's out here on the banks here, the St. Johns River. You love this. How many years our Super Bowl Maxwell Award winner?
I need to hear that again.
You have on Philadelphia green and Patriot blue.
I feel
touching all
both
the bases.
ways. Great taste, less Philly. Ladies and gentlemen, finalists from the class this year for the Hall of Fame Pro Football 2005, Michael Irvin. A different day. We're proud of you, Mike.
Hey, thanks, Boomer. And it's certainly a different day, Boomer. A day of mixed emotions for me. It started out disappointed and upset that I am not part of the 2005 class in the Hall of Fame. But then I started thinking about it. I thought about how blessed I am to make the cut to the final 6. And then it all turned to just being totally happy for our friend, our colleague, and part of our ESPN family, Steve Young, who did make the Hall of Fame, Steve.
Yeah,
congratulations, buddy.
Yeah, baby.
Proud,
yeah,
we are proud to enjoy in your moment right here, to bask in your moment.
I appreciate it. It was really something. It really was a moment. What do you know? I mean, immediately when I thought about it, I read my name, I flashed back to when I was 8 years old and the Levi's and the shoulder pads, the Sears helmet, running around. You know, it's just that kind of a day today.
And you and Dan Marino, 2 of the 4 that are going, you talked about playing real young, right? I mean, it's just kids throwing the ball through a tire. I don't know.
It's unbelievable. In fact, I remember when I was a senior in high school, I went on a recruiting trip to West Point, the Army Pitt game, and the freshman quarterback is Dan Marino, and I saw a big pass he threw right in my kitchen. I thought, holy cow, I'm never going to make it. But that was kind of funny as we little anecdotes throughout the year. And then here we are with the 49ers. So many great years, so many great seasons, so many great moments. It's impossible to recount them all. But my teammates, my coaches, you know, Bill Walsh, George Seifert, Steve Mariucci, all the assistant coaches, Sid Gilman for a little while, Mike Holmgren, Mike Shannon. It just goes on and on and on. I'm grateful for them.
Well, there are just a few more than 200 members of the Hall of Fame. Michael, you will be very soon. Steve, you're a member of the Hall of Fame. Only 140 plus living members of the Hall of Fame. And you know what? Can we just put these mics down for a minute? We'll have some more to talk about that. The newest class of 2005. You're looking at some of the best, and I include you too, Tom. Some of the best players ever assembled, as it was proved today. Well, how about the Eagles and the Patriots? They're the best players assembled this year. They're the best teams. Super Bowl 39. Final preparations were, of course, just walkthroughs for both clubs. They pretty much, they'll get together tonight, maybe have a speech or 2 or 16. Now, Andy Reid today decided to hold out Terrell Owens from practice. I mean, you figure they're only walking. What's the big deal? But the less on the leg, the better. And Mike, what does that mean? Just, hey, rest it up for 48 hours and see what you got?
You know, Boom, when we got the report, we were all like, oh, what does this mean? What's happening here? I wanted to end all this speculation. I just got off the phone with T.O. I said, T.O., what's up? Why were you held out? He says, Michael, I'm fine. There's nothing wrong with me. I just wanted to get off my leg and ice my ankle, elevate it so I can be ready for Super Bowl Sunday tomorrow. So
and
he's
Mike,
fine.
And yet, Mike, the question still will be, how ready is he? And we won't know that until 6:30 Sunday night when he gets ready to play. There's a difference between walkthrough, there's a difference between practice and playing the game. And I think that's what everybody's anxious to see right now is T.O. play the game.
But I'm not sure the pressure's not on Brad Childress, the offensive coordinator tonight. Those guys that are going to play, they're ready to play. But what plays do you call for T.O.? When do you insert him in the game? How do you use him? How does he feel? And is he going to be able to, it's all those questions he's got to manage play by play by play. I think he's under the most pressure tonight.
Well, hey, look, the Eagles have to be prepared, and we'll talk about it tomorrow, that even a quarter in, that first inside dig, what is it? And how does it respond? And if the Eagles, who are now thrilled to have them as part of the team again, don't get too disappointed if it doesn't go well. I don't think they will. I don't think the Eagles will. I think they're prepared either way. Well, we have prime. How do the Eagles get here? How do the Patriots get here? That's what Super Bowl prime time is all about. When we return, we'll look at how the Patriots made it back-to-back Super Bowls with their new additions and their same old winning crew. And the Philadelphia Eagles, they're here as well for the first time since 1980, a magical ride in Philly. Our prime cuts of both teams as the night before on prime time, live from Jacksonville, continues. It's, as the Platters once sang, twilight time.
NFL Primetime, presented by Miller Lite. Grab yourself a great-tasting low-carb Miller Lite.
Great sports moments this February on Orbit. The emotional swing of the Saudi League continues game after game. The NBA stars know how to create a true sensation. The suspense builds up with every twist of the Dutch League. The top of the top in the NFL will take the Pro Bowl by storm. The fever spreads throughout the arenas of the French League. Orbit in February, bringing you a world of sports.
بتهددني يا مندور يا نادية؟
حصلت؟ ايوه بهددك يا عزيزه. طب انت احلاهم زلابيا.
مندور يواجه اتهامات خطيرة.
انا موظف ارشيف محترم. انت شحات محترف. انت بتتهموني بسرقة خزنة. عملت لك ايه يا اخي عشان تقتلني؟
وعزيزة تحلم بالثراء المزعوم.
فإن مريورات يا بت.
مريو ايه؟ خذوا يا باشا.
خليك عذرايين يا عزيزة.
صلاح عبد الله وسعاد نصر.
والله وضعت يا ابو المناديل.
مندور وعزيزة يعرض حاليا حصريا على تي في ماكس.
Every year, the film community gathers to celebrate their finest achievements. In an evening that's all about one thing, the Oscars. The world watches and these talented artists hold their breath as the career-defining decision draws closer. And in a countdown to this moment, I'll be hosting a season dedicated to Oscar glory, with exclusive in-depth analysis and the finest films from the Academy's history. 28 days of Oscar, only on TCM.
Every day throughout February.
Welcome back to NFL Primetime, presented by Miller Lite.
Welcome back to Jacksonville, everybody. Well, they have gone from the franchise of stadium nomads from Harvard Stadium to Fenway to Baron Schaefer Stadium, from Victor Kiam through Lisa Olson to head coach Rod Rust, almost electrocuting himself at his first press conference, to this, the model team and franchise in the NFL in the 21st century. Red Sox fans shed 86 years of waiting. Patriot fans are eyeing 3 Super Bowl crowns in 4 years. Our prime cut, the Patriot season and how they got back. Certainly no easy task. The Patriots began on the opening Thursday night of the season, and that was against the Indianapolis Colts. And Patriot organization, they've done it again. They're back to the Super Bowl, and Bill Belichick, winner in the AFC Championship game 3 times in 4 years, and Tom Brady jerseys of all colors. Patriot fans out here, and they win it at the count of 41-27. There's so many great moments, the Patriots, but you know, they're someone with the Patriots told me, so what moment will you take from that Pittsburgh game? The smile on Corey Dillon's face even after 2-yard runs and 3-yard runs. They don't mind doing the little things to make the big things great.
That's right.
And Steve, and I guess that's how they done it, even though for them, as great as they are, there were moments we doubted. Some doubted.
And I think I doubted because when you win 2 Super Bowls in 3 years and you think, well, now it's my time for a contract. Now it's my time for the car deal. Now it's my time to move up in my new house. I thought for sure the Super Bowl hangover would have its effects as they got into the season, and it didn't happen. And when he got halfway in, Corey Dillon running the football, that defense playing better, despite the injuries, you knew, watch out for this team.
Well, and they're so atypical of a defending champion because they got better as the season went on. And I think look at the horses down in the trenches. I'm talking about Vince Wilfork defensively and Keith Traylor. They made them a great interior run defense. So now Teddy Bruschi and that great group of linebackers, now they can run, start making plays. If you can't run the ball, down and distance now becomes predictable. We can play our game around that.
The scary thing, you say they got better as the season went on. They lost an all-pro quarterback, Ty Law. Then you lose your second corner, Tyrone Poole, and you're like, hey, any team can come in here and throw the football on them. That was not the case. Young Asante Samuel says he shows up and he starts playing well, and this football team is back here in the Super Bowl, boom. A lot of credit to the New England Patriots.
You know what? Because they don't ever get to peek ahead, and I know these players pretty well, as you know. They don't ever allow them to sneak in the closet and go, well, what do the Christmas presents look like if we win another two? No, don't look. They can't look. They're only looking at the week ahead, and that's what they've done. They've been drinking the Kool-Aid. But you know what? It tastes pretty good in Philadelphia, too. When we return, how the Eagles made it here to Super Bowl 39 and the Hall of Fame class, including Steve and Dan Marino and Fritz Pollard and Benny Friedman. And we'll talk about what it means to be going in. And Terrell Owens, hey, I'm ready to go.
I can honestly say God had already cleared me. So it doesn't really matter what a doctor said. You know, I got the best doctor of all, and that's God.
ما هي أجمل لحظة كوميدية؟ هل من الممكن أنها لم تأتي بعد؟
Use your imagination. Are you trying to seduce me?
لعلكم تصدقون.
I got a surprise for you guys. I knew it.
I want to spend the rest of my life with you.
I put some candy in there for you.
لحظات من المرح خلال فبراير على السوبر كوميدي، والمزيد في طريقه إليكم قريبا.
Yeah, how you going?
Welcome back to NFL Primetime, presented by Miller Lite.
Well, to say that the Eagles, I guess they got that off their back, huh? By finally getting to the Super Bowl? I would say so. The Jacksonville Zoo, they're psyched for the Super Bowl. Well, today was the day. The Pro Football Hall of Fame class was announced. There are barely more than 200 members in this, the greatest of all football teams. A group of 15 finalists. You heard Mike allude to it earlier. 15 finalists, down to 10, down to 6, all that this morning. It was narrowed again to 4. 2 names you sure know, 2 names you may not know. That's why we're here. You know this fella. He's sitting 2 doors down to my left. It's Steve Young, who 6 times led the league in passing. In 1994 against San Diego in the Super Bowl, had a game no one will ever forget with 6 touchdown passes. And fittingly that day, the Niners ran. Steve ran for 49 yards, and the Niners scored 49 points. It was amazing symmetry. Dan Marino, was there ever a release like this? Well, 61,000 yards later, the answer would be, I guess not. 420 touchdown passes later, tops in the NFL, I guess not. A season of 5,000 yards throwing, 48-yard touchdown pass record just broken this year by Peyton Manning. So Steve and Dan Marino in.
This is an incredible honor. And it's humbling, you know, to think about growing up, wanting to be a professional football player, wanting to be a quarterback, the streets of Pittsburgh playing Little League, and now to have an opportunity to go into the National Football League Hall of Fame. It's really, really special. The Super Bowl I played in actually was 20 years ago until this present Super Bowl, and I lost that Super Bowl, but 10 days after that Super Bowl, I married my wife, Claire, and we've been married 20 years, and we have a great family, and you're a true Hall of Famer also, baby. I love you very much. That was my Super Bowl.
People stand up here all the time, I'm sure, at this podium when they get announced, and they thank so many people, but I'm just overwhelmed with thoughts of all the people that have kind of shepherded me through my life and to this point. I love football. Roger Staubach was my hero. When I grew up, I had pictures of Roger Staubach on my wall, and I held the ball like he held it. I used to find different posters that showed his hand. I had to find out how he held it because I wanted to hold it like he did. And so I had to find I bought every poster that was made of Roger Staubach to finally get one that showed him holding the ball so that I could go out and hold the ball like Roger did. And I'm grateful.
And now, Steve, you get to hold the ball as high as Roger Staubach's and those quarterbacks. And there's a man that played a long time ago, passed away, Benny Friedman, who threw 20 touchdown passes in 1929. That was a record by far at the time. And a fellow that I've known about a long time, that's Fritz Pollard, who happened to go to Brown University. He led him to a Rose Bowl. But Fritz Pollard goes in posthumously as the first black coach in the National Football League. This was in 1921. He coached Akron and then Art Shell, 60 years later. So he truly were pioneers, and you in your own way were a pioneer. So Steve, you know, this is, you still must be scratching yourself.
Yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable. I saw Dan Marino earlier, and he told me that there's only 26 quarterbacks before us that have gone into the Hall of Fame, and you think that all the people that have thrown the football and all the great people that have played the game, and we stand on the shoulders of great men today. A lot of people that have come before, maybe in and out of the Hall of Fame, who played professional football. I'm two of them here. Football is a great fraternity, and I'm just reminded of that fraternity today very, very deeply.
Steve, you know what I think about? I think about the years that I've looked across that sideline, and I looked at you as we competed against one another. And I am a competitor, and I built all that hate up for Steve Young. And then the last 2 years, I sat on this set with you, and we've grown together as brothers, and I love you like a brother. And I had an opportunity to share in that hall with you today, brother. And I'm telling you, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I thank God for our union, because you are a great man.
You're a great man. Thank you, Michael.
You know, I watched Steve's election today from my room, and I'm not ashamed to say that I shed a tear today in that room. I've already shared this with you. What Steve has done is historic, because if you think about the John Elways, the Dan Marinos, he followed a legend. You don't know anyone in almost any sport who does what he did. He conquered all of that. He persevered, and he made his way to Canton, Ohio. And I was feeling it, and yeah, I love you too, man. I'm proud of you.
I got something to say to you publicly a little bit later here on the show, but it's interesting you brought up Roger Staubach. I was with 40 Hall of Famers last night at a banquet. Roger was one of them. Roger, Merlin Olsen, a lot of the Dolphins. What they talked about was the same camaraderie, and you'll see, and you will see, Mike, and you know, Tom, the camaraderie of the Hall of Famers. Yes. It's a pretty good ball club to be on now, and you guys now will be teammates, and they all talked about it. They're all looking forward to welcoming you with open arms, and you as well, Michael. They all said it last night. More on Steve's moments, Dan Marino's top 10, and won't that be fun to watch? Some of Dan's passes, some of Steve's moments. We'll talk more about that because we got guys here that I think experience it. They remember because they were there. The Eagles, we just rolled you through the Patriots season. How about the Eagles? You're coming up next.
Inside the Numbers, brought to you by Visa, proud sponsor of the NFL. Get ready for the game.
The 5 ball in the top right-hand corner, and while they're going, the cue ball is going to travel back and pocket the 9 ball, all in one stroke, by hitting the cue ball with low draw.
Live from Jacksonville, it's a Super Bowl edition of Sunday NFL Countdown. How much will T.O. play? Michael gets the answer straight from the Eagles' mouth. Find out where another Super Bowl victory will rank Tom Brady amongst the game's greats. What does Donovan McNabb have to do to beat the Pats? Tommy, Steve, and Michael tell you what they think. Plus live reports from the stadium and the team hotels. We've got you covered on Super Bowl Sunday. So join us at 11 a.m. Eastern for NFL Countdown.
For the first time in 24 years, are headed to the Super Bowl.
As we told you, I think all of Philadelphia is here waiting since 1980, waiting for this team that was so close. A lot of green shirts around here in Jacksonville. Well, after singing Take It to the Limit one more time, you know I had to do it. The Philadelphia Eagles did what Glenn Fry, Don Henley, and all the boys always had in mind. All alone at the end of the evening. The bright lights, they're fading from view. That was the previous 3 seasons when the Eagles fell short of the Super Bowl in 3 straight NFC title games. This time, these Eagles put themselves on a highway. They showed them the sign. They took it to the limit. 27-10 over Atlanta one more time. 2004 would be different. Here's our prime cut of how the Philadelphia Eagles made it to the Super Bowl. With apologies to my friends, the Eagles. I'm sure they like when I sing. Week 1, how long would Terrell Owens take to become a real member of the Eagles offense? How about 3 touchdown passes? The first game from
not long, Boom. It wouldn't be long before he would have an impact, and they made sure that the rest of the league knew this is going to be our connection for the rest of the year.
How about McNabb buying the time to Owens and the Eagles way up, right?
And that was the great play. That was the play that showed you that they have a relationship, and it would be great this season for those 2 players.
And later in the game, Eli Manning just did and replaced Kurt Warner, and this is welcome to the NFL. Jerome McDougal.
Jerome McDougal, and that's the hardest hit Eli Manning has taken in his young NFL life.
3 touchdown passes to Owens, 31-17, and now in week 2 on Monday night against the Vikings. McNabb doing it with the feet for 20 yards. The moonwalk. Donovan having fun. And then to T.O., 45 yards, and he says, you know what, Tony Gonzalez not the only one that can dunk here.
But what a great game. T.O. versus Randy Moss. So much hype made about that game. Philadelphia Eagles stepped up and played well.
27-16, they won in Detroit. McNabb to Owens, they're at it again. Boy, these guys were having fun in addition to producing 30-13, the salute in Motown.
And what you started to see was that Eagle offense with air in it. It was like oxygen, pure oxygen came into him for early in the season. That's what T.O. did, not just for himself, but for Donovan McNabb as well.
Against Carolina, the team that knocked him out of the Super Bowl shot the year before. Ricky Manning covering Owens, but T.O. caught 4 for 123 in the first half. Daylight coming, you had to Delo. Lido. Whoa, one more for the road.